Hello Pisces friends, my name is Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Pisces September 2020 Must Knows. This month we have a very strong focus on the energy of Virgo, which is very important for Pisces placements because Virgo energies make a 180-degree angle. So they connect in a very meaningful mathematical combination that brings a lot of overstimulation and a lot of intensity to some core themes, which we will talk about. The first must know is that this is a time, I'm calling it the big cleanup, because Virgo energy focuses on systems and it is also ruling the energy of our immediate environment. So just to kind of drive this home, if you follow astrology, then you know that the outer planets, the inner planets, all the planets and their movements and their connections affect us very, very intimately, right? That's why you're watching this video. But if you think about it, there are things in our environment that are energetically closer to us even than the planets. Like the things we look at every day, the daily experience we have in our surroundings. Those are influencing us every day the same way the planets are, and in a more closer, intimate way even than the planetary aspects. And Virgo rules this energetic space. So when we have a lot going on with the energy of Virgo as we do this month, because it's not just the sun moving through Virgo or Mercury finishing its movement through Virgo. We have 6 trines. Trines are the most favorable harmonious aspect in all of astrology, and we have 6 Virgo trines this month. Okay, so this is like a really big deal. And besides, if you add this shorter term energy to the long term truth that 4 of our 5 outer planets are in earth signs, you can see there's this energy of cleaning things up, shoring it up, adding efficiency. And so this month is an intensive for a theme that's a longer term situation. And for Pisces, when these trines occur, they're going to more intimately hit your Pisces placements because Virgo makes this angle to your Pisces placement. Okay, so the things that are going on in the stars are tying in more specifically to your placement this month. So what this means is that a major mission for you this month, if you choose to accept it, is to evaluate your immediate environment and take action on the things that are problematic in your daily experience. This is clutter. This is systems that are outdated. This is anything having to do with streamlining your efforts, even how you take in mail and where you put the mail, and your daily routine and your chores and your errands, things like that. So drilling down into this space, you might notice that the more you clean up that space, the more harmony you'll feel in the short term and the long term. And these trines are going to give you an extra boost. So this big cleanup can be applied to any area of your life, but a major must know for Pisces is that there are some other areas of your life that are calling for this big cleanup. Okay, and this is true for all early, middle, and late degree Pisces because these trines are occurring in a late degree placement. They're at the end of the signs. Okay, so what that means is that the houses or fields of experience they fall into for Pisces are going to be the same regardless of where your Pisces placement is. Now that's, if you've watched my reports for a while, you know that sometimes I differentiate out if someone in a different section of Pisces is going to have a different experience. But this very strong feature throughout the month is actually going to be the same areas for all Pisces placements. And those big cleanup areas are relationships, one-on-one relationships of every kind, how you function within your relationship space, your relationship dynamics, and things having to do with your friends. So you're cleaning up your personal relationships. You're cleaning up your personal communication dynamics. You're cleaning up your friendships. You're cleaning up the groups that you're involved with. You may also be cleaning up your actual inbox. This is a fantastic month for going through and clearing out old things in storage, not just physical storage, but virtual storage as well. And I like this time especially for this because even though retrogrades can be good for clearing stuff out, sometimes the discernment as to what you release or mistakes about releasing something that you shouldn't have released can happen more in a retrograde. That has to do with a Mercury retrograde. But because this Mars retrograde is featuring this month, which we'll get to, there's not usually as much of a chance of releasing something that really needed to stay with Mars retrograde as there is with Mercury retrograde. So this is just an ideal time to go through your inboxes, clear things out, clear out your trash and your spam, and to take that principle and apply it to everywhere in your life to free up space and to live more lightly and cleanly. Okay, so this also has to do with social media and your relationship to social media. So another Pisces must know this month is that your social media interactions, your online groups, your in-person groups, anything having to do with your friendship or social circles are in a process of cleanup. Okay, so just like I always imagine like a Roomba. If you've ever seen a Roomba, it's like one of these traveling vacuum things. You know, it's like some things you'll have to actively set in motion to clean up, but some things you can set to clean up like with virtual or automatic systems. All right, so like if there's an automatic system you set up with an application on your computer that automatically cleans certain things out. Okay, so you see what I'm saying, where it's like you can set things in motion this month that not only clean out for now, but that set a system for how you can do regular cleanups in the future so that things don't get crazy again. Okay, so the second must know this month for Pisces is that Mars is officially going retrograde. Okay, so I've been talking about this for a while. Obviously, we're in a year of retrogrades, so they're featuring very strongly. But Mars pre-transit shadow period for the retrograde started at the end of July. It got stronger through the month of August, and now here in September, it actually goes retrograde. From September 9th through November 14th is the actual official retrograde, and then the post-retrograde transit that occurs is the shadow period after the actual going direct on November 14th will last until the beginning of 2021. Okay, so this is very long. So you'll notice in Mars retrograde that ambitions tend to wane, but what you will likely find in this Mars retrograde with a combination of Mars retrograde occurring with this big cleanup energy that we're talking about in these trines is that you may find a groove of comfortable productivity, and you might find that you're coasting. Okay, so these trines with Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, and then Mercury and the Sun in Virgo, are going to bring this potential for things that were problems from the previous clashes of the stars. Okay, so a lot of the mischief that has occurred this year with the coronavirus and the breaking down of the systems are from these outer planets, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, getting together in close proximity and crossing over each other and amplifying each other's storylines. So when these Virgo planets come and kiss these Capricorn placements, it's like the chance of bringing something sweet from the conflicts or challenges that came from the prior issues or challenges. And it also means that any work that you've done over this last year can have a chance to really beautifully manifest in September. This is a beautiful window in a lot of ways because it's free from the major eclipse drama that we just stepped out of. We're not yet into the next very strong part of the eclipse cycle, so we're kind of dancing in between the eclipses here. And although we are in Mars retrograde, which has its own stories, we are out of the Mercury and Venus retrograde, so the double personal planet retrograde. So we have this kind of moment between now and when Jupiter and Saturn, which are now direct this month, go and have those conflicts again that they had in earlier times of the year. So a lot of, you hear that saying things happen in threes. You can see this astrologically because when a planet comes and makes contact with another planet, and then the planet goes retrograde, then makes contact again, then it goes direct and it makes that same angle and contact again, we tend to see a story of whatever the themes are that are coming up brought up in these triplicates. So we're about to be stepping into the final conclusions of the madness that has been going on in the world, in the astrological cycle, with Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn. And September is a time, while Jupiter and Saturn are direct now, for the first time in a while, but before they go and make those clashes again, which will happen in October, November, and December. So expect some intensity of the type that we've seen, these booms throughout the year, for the last 3 months of the year as those storylines finish off. But here in September, we're kind of like, things are in process again, and they haven't made the clashes yet. So it's a magical moment in that way. I'm thinking of the energies of Mars retrograde added to these trines as like riding a month-long wave. You know, if you catch a wave and you're just kind of coasting it back to shore, it's like that, you know, so you catch something and then you can ride it all the way through this month. But the huge key to this has to do with discernment. Mars retrograde is not a time to force things. It's the antithesis of the time to force things. It's the time to only go with those things that are flowing naturally and accept them in. And if you try to push something and you're getting static or pushback, to just say, forget it, I'm not going to deal with that. Because any force that's applied through assertive effort tends to boomerang back to you at this time. And this development of discernment over the rest of the year with Mars retrograde applies to hearing the signs, noticing the signs when the energies are pushing back on you. Okay, so the degree to which you can do this is the degree to which you can have a smooth Mars retrograde, and not just smooth, like fun and super comfortably productive and easy and coasting. I love, 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 love vacations, staycations, playcations, as I call them, for Mars retrograde. And this month is full of opportunity for all of those things. Of course, the vacations depending on, travel issues with COVID. But there is this energy of relaxation. If you can't travel because of work or because of something that's going on with the things happening in the world, this is a really great time to still take that energy of vacation into your regular experience. So even like, I'm imagining like travel themed evenings or weekends where you unplug from the phone, you unplug from work, you make some tropical food and drinks and listen to music, and not necessarily alcoholic drinks, I'm not encouraging that, but just whatever it is that you do that's fun, that's relaxing in this sort of vacation attitude. Okay, so the more you can apply a vacation attitude, regardless of what your circumstances are, the more things will flow for you this month and for the rest of the year. So things that are like extra obligations or extra projects that may come to you and you have a choice to take them on, you might be able to bring more energy of vacation to your life by just not taking on extra projects and just doing what absolutely has to be done, and that will leave you for more free time for relaxing. So basically, projects or commitments that are casual and flexible are the kind that are fine. So like if you want to take on a course of study and it has a casual, flexible study format, perfectly fine for Mars retrograde. There's definitely nothing to preclude you from stopping doing that as long as you don't have to have high pressure. If it's a high pressure coursework that needs a ton of concentration that you can't step away from, that has all these deadlines, that might not be the best for this time. So you catch the drift. Like things that you can flow with are the types of things that flow really well at this time. Okay, so the next must-knows is that Jupiter is going direct. Okay, so I casually mentioned that Jupiter was going direct here, but let's talk about this a little bit more because Jupiter has been retrograde since May. So you'll notice that things that had stalled out in your life, in the departments, whatever departments, in May will start to likely flow again. Optimism that you had, good luck that you had, expansion that you had in any area of life, but especially ones that notably kind of started to die down in May, you may notice that those start to pick up again. And for all early, middle, and late degree placements, there is this energy of Jupiter waking up in this 11th house, again, of this social media, of these groups, of your internet-based projects, of humanitarian efforts, of things going on with your friendships, and your social life. You might notice that your social life starts to pick up. And I don't know if this is going to be, physical, or if this is going to be virtual, or whatever the guidelines are going to be at that time, but things in your social arena are likely going to start picking up at this time. And that's true for all Pisces placements. Those of you towards the end of the sign, we'll say like March 11th through the rest of the sign, or like 20 to 29 degrees if you know your placements, that also might be very specific to work. okay, because your work sector is coming alive. And if you are a Pisces that has your work in an 11th house sort of field, like where you work for a large organization or with a large organization, or you work on a team, or you work with a team, or you're leading a team, or you have internet-based work, then you'll find that those things may start to wake up here as Jupiter goes direct. So even though Mars is retrograde and that can chill stuff out, Jupiter is bigger and has more influence. So you might see this flow come regardless of the fact that Mars is in retrograde. But again, you just have to accept in what areas are flowing and don't force the ones that aren't. Always know that when I do these readings, they are for Pisces moon, Pisces sun, Pisces rising. And so that's an important piece, another must know. And something else, this is a must know for those of you who are in that late degree placement. So from March 11th through the rest of the sign, and the later, especially in March or 20 to 29 degrees, always play with watching Aries readings. And not just for me, but with, especially if you're like, March 15th, March 16th and after, or like 24, 25 degrees and after, you all might find that Aries reports have more for you than these Pisces reports. For my reports, I always take into consideration the late degree placements. I'm always speaking to what may be different for you. But even with my reports, if you watch Aries, you late degree friends, you might pick up some additional pieces that weren't discussed in the Pisces reports. So that's just a little tidbit there. Okay, so the September energy is like this still point, as we talked about, this still point in between the eclipse cycle, this still point before the outer planets move into those very intense connections. So there are a lot of things waking up at this time, even with Mars being retrograde. Another must know about this month is that once again this month, we had this in August, we have double the challenging aspects compared to the sweet ones. And when that happens, an optimist like me will interpret that, or at least I personally interpret this, as an invitation from the stars to change your viewpoint, okay? Because challenging aspects are meant to awaken us to something inside of ourselves that is calling for attention, that is deeply unconscious and rises to the surface with experiences that we have, okay? And these planetary combinations trigger these experiences, and then the experiences bring to our awareness things that were under the surface that we might not have been focusing on that are calling for focus, okay? So kind of see this month as this time, this invitation to change your viewpoint. And this invitation to change your viewpoint, you're going to hear me talking about this a lot over the rest of the year and for years to come, because with the outer planets teeter-tottering between the energies of Capricorn, which rule tradition and old, the way things have always been done, teeter-tottering between that energy and the Aquarian energies, which are the new ways of doing things, the innovative ways of doing things. We're in this time in humanity, for humanity, where there is this invitation to change our viewpoints, change our systems, and change the perspectives that are intricately involved in how we experience something, okay? So just know that that's definitely a must know, that if you have little tussles this month with the stars, if you can remember, okay, this is alerting you to something that you're doing that may not be working, okay? So an example of this is, let's say somebody has a car accident and that person is okay, and or any degree of okay, okay can have different definitions, but they live through it and they take it as a wake-up call for whatever certain things are storylines for them. Maybe they hadn't been driving safely, maybe they've been too hurried, maybe their schedule is not sustainable, maybe they're tired, maybe whatever it is, and then they use that to change their lives in radical ways. Then the invitation that the stars gave to change the viewpoint, change the perspective, change the way of doing things will have been accomplished, which can protect from other wake-up calls in the future because you're getting that message. Okay, so that's a big must know. All right, so the next must know has to do with, I've mentioned that we have 6 trines this month because Mercury and the Sun are each going to make these beautiful angles with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. And we also have 6 inconjunct angles, okay? And the inconjunct angle, also known as a quincunx, is awkwardness. And if you listen to my August report, then you have heard me talk about this recently, because I likened it to the baby giraffe finding their footing. You know, baby giraffes are required to run very quickly after they're born, and they're like all gangly and their legs are all awkward. In August and also September has a lot of these awkward 150-degree angles that are us finding our new normal, okay? And that continues this month. But something else that is a must know about this is that doubt often comes in with this particular angle. It throws things into question. It brings an insecurity or an uncertainty about something. And the way that I see it is that doubt is a gift from the universe, because doubt is showing us either, well, I mean, there are many things that doubt can show us, but in general, it tends to show an area of our lives that is not properly shored up. It doesn't have the strength, it doesn't have the confidence, it doesn't have the certainty. And so when something happens that shakes what we thought we had, it alerts us to the fact that we may not have it as strongly as we thought. So if you can accept doubt as the gift from the universe and ask yourself this very important question. This question was brought to us in a very, very amazing way by Byron Katie through her book and her process called The Work. If you're not familiar with Byron Katie, I highly recommend you look up her work. It's really one of my favorite inner work, quote, inner work, as I always talk about, and self-development tools. So she invites us to ask the question about a belief system that we have that may be causing us some trouble. Is it even true? Right? Now, you'll be very surprised when you start applying. If you notice, I have a belief system that I think that this is happening because of this, and that belief is causing me trouble. Okay? If you ask yourself, is it even true? And then your subconscious mind starts turning that over. Is that even true? It turns out it might not even be true, because truth can be subjective. And this is how we break down our perceptions. And the breakdown of perceptions into viewpoints that work better for us, as I talked about, is a short and long-term theme, but it can also radically change our level of peace and flow in life. Okay, so something else to know about this 150-degree angle is that it does sometimes come in through experiences and doubt, but all planets and all transits can be personified through an actual person. Okay, so these awkward 150-degree angles that are proliferating this month can represent a person like the Tasmanian Devil. If you know the Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes, you know, Taz, the Tasmanian Devil, he is really wild and he's all over the place. And whenever he comes in, there's this storm of energy around him that brings chaos and madness and destruction in the wake of their energy field, okay? So this can be a person that comes in and is bringing this experience to your life. So the resolution might be clearing your energy field out of people who are bringing that to your life. The resolution might be seeing where that person is reflecting something like that inside of you. Now, this is back to this cleanup energy that I talked about right at the very beginning that I said would be a theme for this month. This crazy swirling energy is calling for you to see the places where that is you, okay? And the places where you can rein that in, clear it out, and live with less drama and less chaos. Okay, so let's see my little notes here. So the last thing that I want to talk about, the last must to know on my list, has to do with the beginning of September ending the water festival. Okay, in June and July and August, and now right here at the beginning of September with the full moon in Pisces, as we start the month with this full moon in Pisces, there has been this very, very strong and consistent water festival, I call it, where there's been a lot of energy in water, Mercury retrograde in water. We've had, the ending of an eclipse cycle that featured one of the water polarities. And it's brought a lot of emotion. So June, July, August, beginning of September carries a lot of emotion. But this is like the end of it for a little while, okay? Because with that Pisces full moon, after that we have fire, we have air, we have earth energies this month. but not a super strong showing of water energy. So that can be very stabilizing for you all. And then, of course, the full moon in Pisces is in your sign. Okay, so this is very relevant because whenever we have that happen, it drills it down. And those of you that are near 10 degrees, so we'll say like between 5 degrees and 15 degrees. So basically that's going to be, okay, so 10 degrees are birthdays that are around like March 1st, March 2nd, March 3rd, but also flows into the last, 4 or 5 days of February, and then can kind of breeze out to like up to the first 7 or 8 days of, and even more like 5, but it can extend a little further. Like that grouping of Pisces placements is going to be most directly affected by this full moon. So this is going to be a big time of fruition. Full moons always bring high emotion, and especially water full moons. And full moons tend to bring water where it's not supposed to be. Okay, so, and there's many ways that can happen. I've seen many a time, most of the year I live on the water, and I've watched these full moons, and like high tides rising with the full moon, coming close, causing flooding. So this energy of like flooding and water where it shouldn't be, and excess water, whether it's in your house or whether it's outside or whether it's inside your emotions, there's going to be a lot of excess. But there is a saving grace here, because most of the aspects near this full moon are actually sweet. There's a couple of little crunkles that can have a little bit of strife added into it that might add to the possibility of more sad tears. But there are way more aspects flanking this this full moon, that are sweet aspects. So that increases the odds that these are happy tears, that this is fulfillment, that this is accomplishment, that this is a breakthrough. And that's true for all Pisces placements, but especially those of you between, closer to 10 degrees. And then we widen that a little to like 5 to 15 degrees. And so the last, say 5 days of February or so, and then the first 5 days or so of March are, stronger, with like the days around the first being the strongest hit. Okay, so let me just check this out to make sure there's nothing else that was on my mind. And so overall, I think we've got a pretty powerful month that's open for a lot of possibilities. We've got challenging aspects, but we do have a lot of, as you've seen, sweet things, and we do have a good reframing system now for any of the challenges that come up. In general, when the planets get into Virgo, they accentuate this 180-degree angle with Pisces that causes a lot of overstimulation, but because of the trines that are speckled throughout the month, that adds some lifting action to the normal intensity that would happen at this time. So I love that for Pisces. And so Mars retrograde is going to give you a good chance to relax and be comfortably productive. And so that's the main summary. So if you want to have more information about this month, definitely check out my Mars retrograde resources. If you search for Annie Botticelli Mars retrograde, or click the more little arrow button underneath this video, it will reveal notes and you can see the links for Mars retrograde, my blog and my video there. And you can also see links in these notes to my written horoscopes, cozybysweetstarlight.com. The link is there, where I write written horoscopes a month before. I put all my stuff out a month early so that you understand things for your planning process. And you can also see lots of other blogs on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. If you want to see all of the aspects of note, what they may bring, and have my general detailed write-up of the stars to come delivered into your inbox 1 month early, you can do that when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com, and you'll also receive Shine, my 28-day virtual coaching program, for free when you become a member of my email list. So those are going on. Oh, I also have free classes. You can go to my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. And I've got free classes on there, and you can also see my paid courses, including Become a Professional Astrologer Mastery course. If you resonate with how I teach and you want to learn, then you will have a learning wonderland. There's an astrological wonderland in that course. So you can check that out at lumelife.com. If you are a person who loves when I add the charts into the videos and you're missing those this month, then don't worry, I do intend to have those back very soon. I just have had a lot going on this month, and it does take me extra time to add those in and edit and splice all of that. So I couldn't do it this month, but I do expect for that to come back soon to get those visual aids for your learning. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.